Hey, this is Brett Cahoon from Good Shot Judy calling in today.
Yeah,
I have I've been a musician my entire life, or at least since I was 15 years old. That gives me about 31 years of experience now. I was in restaurants for 20 years or so, and I've been an entrepreneur for the last 5 years.
Nice.
cool, cool. All right, well, let's go ahead and get this thing
Get
started.
these juicy questions going. So for our listeners who may not have heard of Good Shot Judy, could you just talk a little bit more about band and kind of what you guys do?
Sure. So Good Shot Judy was a product of loving jazz music and never seeing it performed in a way that was really lively and engaging. And only seeing it, if I could find it live, it was usually just as a background thing. And I wanted it to be like it was 1959 in Las Vegas again. And that's kind of where the idea of Good Shot Judy started. And then from there, it's grown and become something that's even more than that, where everyone in the band is really engaging. And so I guess the initial conception was like, hey, let's be an event band. Let's recreate this genre, even if it was just for fun. And then we realized that a lot of other people liked it as well. And then we started to become an event band. And I think, the concept has grown to, instead of just having a band that backs up a really engaging or entertaining vocalist, it's grown to this thing where the entire group is really entertaining, from the horn section to the rhythm section and the vocalists. And I think that's been a big secret of our success, is that it looks like it's a lot of fun on stage, and that's because it actually is.
And I could definitely say from experience that is extremely fun on stage. If some of our viewers don't know, I'm actually a part of Good Shot Judy. I'm playing horn, acting a fool up there, and it's definitely been an experience with you guys. Had a lot of fun, a lot of growth, great people to play with, and I would say just recently putting out that album, One Live. Definitely check that out, guys.
Absolutely.
It was definitely a ride, just being able to come in just in time, because I think you guys was already kind of working on something.
Yep, actually, we had lots of shows in the can. That the problem is that you record a 3-hour show or a 2-hour show, and then it takes 2 hours to listen to it. And so I had recorded maybe a dozen different shows, and I thought, well, we'll just pick the best from each thing. And then once you were with us and we finally became the finely tuned machine that we are, we actually, when we were performing at Elevation 27, our live engineer, Carol Miller, recorded multi-track that show, and I didn't even know he was doing that. And then he gave me the tracks later, and I thought, we were pretty on that night, and we had a great time, and I said, let's just use 20 of the songs we performed from that night. So
yeah.
So and Ellis, that's one thing I will say for you, is that you have been a big part of the heart of this, the energy and the enthusiasm, and that's all what makes it so much fun.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. It's definitely good being able to have like a platform to just let all that energy and positivity out. So definitely thank you for having me.
Oh man, the pleasure's all mine.
Mm-hmm.
So why that era, or why swing band?
So it kind of started in, so I grew up as a punk rocker. The Ramones were basically my religion when I was 15, 16. And so naturally I wanted to be just like them. And because you could perform punk rock with so few chords and such little knowledge of music, everyone was doing it, right? Well, that part kind of came later, where everyone was doing it. So me and my friends got together and we were like, okay, this is a punk band. And then I became a songwriter through realizing that, hey, what was, even though I was an accomplished rock guitarist, everyone on my block, where there was always a guy down the street that was better than you, and I realized the only thing that would be uniquely mine would be my own compositions. So, I went down that road. I wrote, exclusively for my group 10 years from now. And for myself, and I wrote all original music. The band would perform a cover maybe once or twice a night. But anyhow, so I kind of grew up, and during the mid-90s, during the neo swing revival, I saw the Cherry Poppin' Daddies, I think 3 times within about a year and a half. And during those shows, or right at the beginning of those shows, when the lights would go down in the theater or the hall, they would have their play on music, and it was always Frank Sinatra's "Come Fly With Me." And so it was after the third time I saw them that I thought, man, I really like that song. I need to go check out Frank Sinatra. And I found this live album. And I listened to that song a few times and a couple others. And I was like, okay. And one night I was driving to the mountains at 4 a.m, like through an ice storm. And it was like a white knuckle night where you're like, oh God, you can't take your hands off the wheel. And so that CD, this Live in Paris Frank Sinatra CD, flipped in my deck. I listened to it like 3 times because it was an ice storm and traffic was moving really slow. And I found out like by the next day, I was like, man, I really dig this. And so then I started exploring more Sinatra, more Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Nat King Cole, Ray Charles, all these things. And, you know, I had never had the opportunity to sing with just a piano or just, you know, a small combo. And I just thought it was, you know, very sexy. And I liked that kind of, just these songs, standards were so beautiful and so well written. They're from a different era, you know, when it wasn't, I mean, lyrically, some of that stuff today still, I'm almost a little intimidated but as a songwriter, I think, okay, well, we're going to do this song by Sammy Cahn, Cole Porter, and then here's one that I wrote, you know, and those guys were so good that, you know, so anyhow, sorry guys, this is a long rambling answer, but I just fell in love with that genre. And then when I thought, hey, you know, like I reached out to other groups in the area that were performing, and I'd say, hey, I'd love to be a vocalist for you. And everyone just kind of blew me off. So then I thought, well, you know, I mean, I've been a guitarist for 15 years and, you know, maybe I'll try my hand at piano. And then I learned to accompany myself. And I made my brother Jeff learn to play upright bass. And then we met you, and the rest is history. So, but it was just a love for the genre. If I had to make it a short answer, my rock and roll days kind of fizzled out on me. And I thought, you know, even if this is something I only do once a month in a coffee house or a cocktail lounge, you know, it would just make me very happy to sing some standards.
That's cool. That's cool. I dig it. Now, you've been doing this for a while, and just not even the performing side of it, but behind the scenes, the music industry, talking to people, the network. If you could talk to an 18-year-old Brett Cahoon that wanted to hop into this business, what would you tell them?
I think about that sometimes. And I would say 2 things. One, I would say, create something unique that you really, really love and that you're willing to work around the clock for day in and day out. Because, you know, when I was 18, I believed that the record deal was going to be the end. You just got to get the deal, even if you can trick them into giving it to you. Well, once you got the deal, you're famous, right? And you're rich. And that's really, you know, that's not the way it works at all. It's, you know, if you happen to get a deal, which these days you don't even really need, then the work begins, you know? Yeah. You know, so I would say that. And then I would also say, to my 18-year-old self to never give up, you know, and you're always one song away from being the next greatest thing that ever happened, right? And you never know, you know, and it's that one song that you never wrote or you didn't release, you know, that could be the game changer for you in that realm of success. But I think, you know, even more importantly is finding something that you love to do, that you're willing to like work around the clock for is what made all the difference with Good Shot Judy. Just having a musical group that, you know, where a place where I could surround myself with my, you know, people that I love, my closest friends, and make something that actually makes other people happy.
Okay, so fun question.
Oh boy.
Oh, I know those other questions were kind of deep, diving deep, but
Mm-hmm.
so this question, what out of all the, you can include Good Shot Judy or before Good Shot Judy, what has been the craziest thing to happen to you while on stage? You or someone in the audience, or if you
the craziest thing that's ever happened while I was on stage. You know, I mean, you know, I've had my head cut open by banjolailies and slammed my head into ceilings, and we bled on stage. The craziest thing, though, I had an old man come on stage once. It was at a beach performance. Like, this was when I was very young, in a punk rock band, and he began to dance like an old-timey dance in the middle of our punk rock set, you know, and we didn't take very kindly to that, but we in the end just happened to like laugh it off. But it was very surreal, right? Where you're like, we're a bunch of 18-year-olds or 20-year-olds playing loud and fast punk rock, and like a 70-year-old man got on stage. And I mean, I think he was an attempt to like mock us, or make us look dumb, but and it probably worked.
I actually have one. It's not crazy. I think it's the funniest thing that's happened on stage with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally in tears and had to walk off the stage, and I don't even think you noticed. We were playing up here in Richmond at one of these dance halls, and we were in the middle of I want to say New York, and the thing that you would expect finally happened, and someone's shoe just went flying off during the kick.
Oh, like from the audience?
No, from us. I think it was Brandon.
Really?
And then you saw the shoe, and then you kicked it off stage right when Brandon was trying to come and get it.
Oh man.
Yeah, Brandon, our sax player, and he was just sitting. He was just standing looking at me like.
I don't think I even knew that ever happened.
Dude, like it's just the way you did it. You just did it like you were singing. You looked down, like, oh, didn't skip a beat, didn't skip a word, just kicked it off and kept going.
Right.
And the tears, when I say the tears was flowing, Chelsea thought that maybe something happened. There was something wrong with me, and I was just like, I gotta get off stage to compose myself.
That's funny.
That was probably the funniest thing I've ever encountered on stage. Like,
well, seeing a shoe on the stage is something that I could think that would make me happy if I got to kick it into the audience,
Yeah.
So that doesn't surprise me that I did.
Okay, so we talked about a couple things. We talked about the album. We talked about, your background. Doing this whole swing thing. Now let's talk about the future. This is my favorite part. Give us some sort of little sneak peek of what we have coming up in the future.
All right. So first things first, as far as Good Shot Judy is concerned, is I want to get our, we've been performing the Christmas album, or the Christmas show, for where last year was our 5th year at doing that. So we've compiled quite a bit of different repertoire, and I believe we finally now have enough arrangements that if we're picking from the 40 or 50 songs that we've done over the years, that we could probably put together a really solid holiday, Christmas album with about 15 tunes there. So I'm really excited about recording that because, as you guys know, we have such a wonderful string section that we can include on these things and really make a record that that can stand for itself. Like One Live, and I just happen to have a copy here on my desk, This is like a great representation of what Good Shot Judy has become as far as an event band. 1 hour, 20 songs there that are all fan favorites. But I think what's going to be really fun for me is to, make a Christmas album and really be able to push the production to the next level and not just say, well, that's what happened because it was live and you just got to live with it. To be in the studio and track it in our own studio and be able to take the time to say, hey, that's really good, but it's not great. Why don't we make it great? I want to hear what it would sound like if this album was great. So, so that's the first thing that I'm very, very interested in spending a lot of time doing that. And then from there, I'm ready to start tracking, or not, maybe even just rehearsing some of this original music that I've been writing. And I've been very excited about getting our horn section together and starting to work on these things. And, COVID-19 has been obviously a nightmare for everyone, but it's really destroyed our sort of rhythm, as far as like being a working band. Why we got so good is just all the repetition. It just makes you really good at what you're doing. And so I'm looking forward to getting some regularly scheduled time where we're like, okay, this week we're going to spend however long it is we have working out parts for this song, and really releasing some high quality Good Shot Judy original material that will hopefully, be as successful with our fans, as all the stuff that we normally do, all the jazz and swing.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah,
you can't beat a band with a good loyal fan base, and those guys are going to love it once we finally drop some original content.
Let's hope so.
Dude,
we have the best fan base in the world. Yes. They are amazing,
Jimmy Kimmel is happening. I'm telling you.
Yep. All right. I always think about that when you said that to me that night at Virginia Beer Company. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah.
My pleasure, guys.
Yeah.
If I think of any other crazy thing that happened on stage, I will send you a video snippet in the next day.
Hey, cool. And somehow we'll put it on here, or we might just make it a post on the We Live podcast or Instagram. Actually, with that said, tell our listeners and our viewers how they can follow you, Good Shot Judy, and get their hands on a copy of One Live.
Oh, good call. To buy the album, you can visit www.goodshotjudy.com and go to the shop. We also have lots of other great merch items there, like T-shirts and hoodies and polos and all that fun stuff. There's stickers. We have some shot glasses and sunglasses coming and things like that. And you can also tune in and watch the Good Shot Show on Facebook.com/GoodShotJudy. That's on Thursday nights at 7:00. We took off last week for a vacation, and we are excited to be back this week. So don't miss out on that.
Cool. This guy has like the best announcer's voice. If you need an announcer's voice for any project that's coming up, hit up Brett, and he got you.
Thanks, Ellis. I have been thinking that might be a next career step if I ever get caught up enough to I would like to do some work don't forget to visit Top Golf here in Virginia Beach. It would be fun, I think, to do little advertisements and stuff like that. Let me know if you need one for the show.
Hey, it just might.
It's 7:00 and it's time for We Live. I don't know. We'd have to work it out.
Hey, we'll work something out.